All right, what's going on, chat? Welcome to NEC Collegiate Overwatch action. Finally, the season's getting underway. I'm Yelkreb. Here making his NECC casting debut with me is Neely. Neely, today we've got a good matchup between St. Clair College and Eastern Tennessee State University. It's a Champions Division matchup, so it's going to be toward the upper echelon of the competition here. What are you expecting to see out of this game?
I don't know exactly because I don't know these teams as probably well as you do, but I know in the meta these days, a lot of double bubble is getting run. That is with the Zarya Winston style comps. So a lot of Echo, I'm sure, is going to get played, and it's going to come down to whoever can play those kind of comps a lot better. What do you think here, yo?
I think you got the right look. These days, it's kind of a divey. It's like a dive into a quick brawl. It's very chaotic in Overwatch these days. There's tons of burst damage in the mix, so it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams are captained through this best of three match. But a quick thank you to our sponsors to help make what's going on here at NECC possible and propel it forward. MetaPro Gaming is a full-service esports management development and consulting company. You can visit them at metaprogaming.gg to learn more.
Respawn. Products are forged for all-day comfort for content creators, professional and casual players, or anyone looking to upgrade their setup. Respawn has been battle-tested and achieves a level of comfort that leaves competitors in the dust. Live to play with another Respawn, your battle-ready partner.
And of course, HyperX, you know them, I'm wearing them. Their mission has always been to develop gaming products for all types of gamers. High speed memory, solid state drives, headsets, keyboards, mice, you name it. HyperX gear is the choice of celebrity ambassadors, pro gamers, tech enthusiasts, and of course, the NECC. Thank you to HyperX. All right, with that out of the way, we're going to be getting right into map one shortly, going to control first, and we're going to be headed to Busan. You said it earlier, I said it, dive is the meta. That's what I'm looking to see.
Absolutely. And I am excited. I like some high-level dive. These teams know how to run this kind of stuff. But who knows? I mean, control brings out some other options with stuff.
Well, I'm interested to see mainly this Eastern Tennessee State team because they've come in, they did well in their little preseason matchups, getting a ton of scrim action, and they've got those blocks honed into their schedule. So I'm looking to see that well practiced team perform and exceed my expectations today, making their NECC debut.
Here we are at Busan. Little sanctuary action. Most of this fight is gonna be based around the drum.
Yeah, it definitely will be. I mean, that drum heavily contested. You can kind of run any comp you choose as long as you just base it around the good positioning of this map. But opening things up here, we're going to see Eastern Tennessee State. It's going to be interesting what they pick for here. Is they're captained by Snoozy, one of the support players, so we'll see that direction taken. And then on the side of St. Clair, captained by Apostle. So a tank versus a support captain. Just in terms of like Overwatch mindsets, where do you like your captain to be at?
I do like him from the tank category majorly, but I do know some teams drive a lot of their shot calling and comms out of their support. So it's really whatever playstyle you want to go for. Usually supports have a more defensive style to their team, while tanks have a more offensive style. So I always prefer a tank. I'm a tank player, and I like to see what these tanks can do when they kind of have control of the team.
And just looking at these compositions as we can finally see them, we're going to notice St. Clair College on this classic Ryan Zarya brawl comp with the McCree the Reaper, Imp on the Lucio to speed boost them all in, and then the Commanda, she's going to be on the Moira just to keep everybody alive and well. And then on the other side, Eastern Tennessee, this is much more a meta look that we're seeing sketched on this Wrecking Ball, going high mobility combos with Permal on the Tracer to go in and just activate those flanks.
Yeah, I definitely like the look of the Wrecking Ball, but it's going to be available, killing Spawn early, and then Apostle finally gets down the bar. Sorry, that's going to probably spell out the key for the rest of this month, and it does late into the fight. A little bit dicey, but the brawl of ETSU right now is going to take the point. St. Clair.
St. Clair rolls on. Everyone stayed inside that Lucio speed boost the entire time, it felt like. The Brawl just executing on those vulnerable targets. And ETSU having to reset rather early, but they're going to be going back in now. Spawn finding the kill on the kill, winning that McCree duel. But now Zarya is pushed down. Backed up. Random person just feeling the full brunt of this front line coming forward from St. Clair, but the flanks activate. Ermal and Spawn start popping off in the kill feed, collecting kills. The captain getting in the mix as well. Spawn getting that final kill here, just taking down Prince Wada.
And that's the thing that can kind of happen with this ball style comp. He's going to get that bubble ability from the Zarya, which is going to give him a lot of room to work around the stun of the 3. And if that stun doesn't find anything onto the ball, Tracer and Ball kind of get to tear that team up. And then the team that has the Reinhardt is going to just sort of stand there and take it.
Thermau is just on this flank. He's got the pulse bomb in his hand, waiting to see what he does with it. It's going to be on to him to make the play, or else Snoozy's going to have to use that nano boost and bail him out. This rushdown is just getting right in the mix. Bubble throw it onto Apostle, but he's able to bubble and stay safe. Kale landing the headshot onto Zach. Taking him out of the equation. Commando falling to the high noon of Spark. And the nano onto Spark, just rolling this McCree in deeper into the brawl of St. Clair. They're having a tough time getting their footing locked up inside this Graviton Surge. Deep-drop committed to keep everyone alive. And it looks like ETSU choosing to invest as well, but one by one they fall. St. Clair coming out on top of this fight. Have to get these last couple of kills.
Yeah, the longer this brawl kind of exists and the dive setup from ETSU can't find anything, the longer this St. Clair brawl comp has to kind of get activated and start working. So they're able to counter that grab with the beat and then explode out of that
And St. Clair has a huge advantage in alt economy right now. You can see they've got 5 in the wings. Graviton Surge from the Apostles coming out first, comboed with that Coalescence by the Captain Commando. That's going to do more than enough damage to take down Zach. So must be feeling some kind of way getting solo grabbed and coded like that. But Apostle falling to a headshot from Spock makes this an even 5 versus 5. Imp going down as well. Spock is just doing anything he wants just on this main high ground. Out in the open, no shield to hide behind, rolling in to save his Zarya now who's frozen up in that May ultimate Neely. This is an insane fight we're seeing from Spawn.
This is quite a fight from Spawn, but KO is going to answer by lots of kill feed. That means your St. Clair team is winning that fight, bringing the percentage up to almost a tie at 72%. Not a lot of ults from either team coming online here, but there will be the rally. That is a big game-winning, fight-winning fight for ETSU coming in right here. And they're switching over to the Zarya Hong Kong. A bit of a different look, a little harder for any rush.
I think St. Clair should have no problem closing this one out. Round is going to be a tough hill to get over. But they're just running this ball straight into the Roadhog sketch. Not able to stay alive. Doesn't get the support he's looking for. But the rest of ETSU has flanked around to the point. And they're going to get a flip, no problem. So that will stop any percentage gain by St. Clair for the time being. But ETSU, they've got to get their member back somehow. They're down Burnow as well. Coalescence coming out from Commander to just engage the St. Clair team onto ETSU. May ultimate getting thrown out as well, freezing everyone. And when you're frozen, I mean, you are just absolute mincemeat. You're right there, St. Clair, no problem cleaning up those kills, 99%, and that is round 1 to the Griffins.
Yeah, right there, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. They did rush in. They did run in and kill the Hog very quick, but they lost the Lucio.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it seemed like ETSU made a smart play, sacrificing the Roadhog, running around to the point, just completely avoiding the confrontation and flipping the point in the end. But they didn't quite have the ultimates that St. Clair had to just retake that point.
Absolutely. Point 2 of Busan here. Gonna be running next to the train. When's it coming in? When's it going out? You can maybe get a kill off of that train, but that's gonna be what Imp's looking for. Hopefully. But now we're going for a brawl variant versus brawl variant. One's going to be more rush down with the Lucio. The other one's going to be a little more set up and poke with the Anas and Yada. We're just going to see how these pan out on the point.
It'll be interesting. Prince Wada just claiming the point as his own, moving right in on this Reinhardt, wasting absolutely no time. Imp landing a series of headshots onto Snoozy, taking her down. And now Prince Wada can just roll forward confidently. He's still got the full shield. Falls down to 20 HP, but gets the support he needs. Kale finally removing Spong from that fight. And the Fire Strike landing very far away onto a random person. And that should be an easy first point cap. They've got to go back and get it, though, Neely.
They do have to go back and get it a little hasty, taking the fight all the way to the spawn door, but that is what you're able to do with this Lucio style comp. And when you have a Lucio that's going to hit a bunch of headshots on the game, looks very easy for a guy like him.
Commanda's coming up on that Coalescence, definitely going to use it to get things started here in this fight. Maywall successful Enticing off sketch from his team, but Prince Wada oversteps his bounds just a little bit and is taken down by Snoozy with the Discord on his head. Him falling to Burmow really makes this one an even fight. The attackers have a high charge Zarya and they're rolling in. Random person wants to take this space, has to be careful of those Mei walls though, that they seem to keep forgetting how deadly that ability can be.
It does seem like St. Clair is winning the Mei wall fight in this map so far, giving them 30, almost 40%, and an ultimate charge advantage, but ETSU also coming up on all their ults. They're not quite there, but going into this fight, they should be able to get some. Pops the grab, but it's walled off. Still, Kale finds the two-man high noon to seal up that fight. St. Clair is going to be rushing in here and trying to clean up the rest of them. Mayfreeze even to try to finish the rest of them off.
It'll buy him a few more seconds on this clock. It's a race to 100 seconds of control these points, in case you weren't aware. So anytime you can chip off is valuable, especially when the other team is still sitting at 0%, because even if they capture, you've got plenty of time to build those ultimates back up.
Absolutely. Now it's going to be on Prince Wanda here, or Wada, my apologies, to hit this shatter to keep his team up. That's really all they're going to have to win this fight. They might even opt to save it and let ETSU ult out for a retake.
Maywall coming in again to split off the tanks. The shatter lands onto a few squishies. The Zarya bubbles keep him alive for a while, but it's not going to be enough. Mei ultimate lately committed. Also not going to find any kills. We're going to see a coalescence here just to heal everyone up in the final few seconds of this Busan map, which has now gone the way of St. Clair College. They jump ahead 1-0.
Just as I spelled it out, if he could hit that shadow, he could win that fight. He was looking down the barrel of 5 ultimates from ETSU, but he finds a massive shadow to finish it off. And here it is.
Might even see it for the play of the game. Prince Wada letting it swing, of course, right after the Mei wall. Lands a big one. Zarya bubble keeping that Mei alive for just an instant before going down again. What a way to close out a fight. Well, that'll do it for map number 1. It's in the book. St. Clair is ahead 1-0. Next one is our hybrid game mode map. We've got Blizzard World on deck. Well, Blizzard World on deck. Neely, what do you think is going to be played on this one? Think it stays with that brawl that we saw, both teams running, Reinhardt, Zarya, or something new?
What did you say the next map was going to be?
Blizzard World.
Blizzard World. Well, this map has a lot of different high grounds that you can access, lots of different angles of attack you're going to be able to take. And a brawl can maybe work for first point attack, but there's so many long ranges of sight. You can maybe see like a double shield, maybe a double bubble with a dive. Ball is always a good tank. It's really kind of up to the team's play style. As of right now, ETSU seems to favor that dive play style, but St. Clair obviously rather dominant on the brawl. I could see St. Clair sticking with a brawl setup, but some teams just kind of have a game plan for a certain map set, and then they pull out a completely different plan that they have scrimmed. So we'll have to see.
It seems like St. Clair is very well versed on these Lucio comps. I mean, Imp is doing a fantastic job speed boosting everyone in and controlling the tempo of the game. Somehow, ETSU, they have to find a way to deal with that. Right now, I would say their star player has been Sponk on the McCree pick, just kind of shutting down members of St. Clair, but he's not able to do all of it himself. And what other heroes could they try and pick to just counter this brawl a little bit better?
I mean, anything with high spam, so your Junkrats, your Fars, maybe your Hanzos, things of that nature. If you don't want to play into a brawl comp that is that St. Clair is running, you could go for something like that. You could go for the dive setup. There's a lot of things that do counter brawl. The thing that brawl poses it's like a hard question, right? And ETSU hasn't really had the answers yet, but the answers are there in Overwatch. It's just whether you can unlock those answers and kind of dismantle this. We got to see it a little bit on the first point of Busan, where once they got a pick on that dive comp, the rest of St. Clair just kind of fell apart. But if St. Clair can stay as a unit and stay alive, it's very hard to penetrate that with any kind of flank.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. St. Clair going to be the attacking team this time around on Blizzard World, so they'll actually get to dictate the pace. I'm interested to see if they do go with that rush down comp, just how quickly they can get onto the first point and capture it, because their whole game plan right now is to keep the momentum going from a very strong performance on Busan.
Absolutely. But here we are, Blizzard World, new map, very different layout, let me tell you. It's one of my favorite maps, too. Looks great. Can't really argue with how it looks.
It's got a
Especially,
fantastic aesthetic. I mean, it's just filled with Blizzard lore. What's not to like?
yeah, and sadly I was more of a Nintendo guy, so I didn't get to grow up with this kind of thing, but I know Disney World, I know this is kind of made after that kind of a place, and it definitely delivers on just full on aesthetic, and it just adding everything when you look into all the little nooks and crannies of this map. But if you look at it from just an Overwatch sense, it's just got a lot of long lanes, some decent high grounds to play with, especially on the second objective.
Yeah, I would say almost any comp has a fair chance of being forced on this map. No matter when Brawl is out of the meta, the second point could always be a little bit tough, but first point, you like to just run a big shield right in front, get in with the speed boost of the Lucio, and just start, you know, taking the act.
I mean, am I still alive? I just heard a sound go. Okay. Well, regardless, I think we're just waiting for the next map to kind of get kicked off here. But did you say that St. Clair and ETSU were rather strong contenders last season?
Yeah,
Neither of them played last
they're
season.
both making their NECC debut.
Okay.
They did okay in a little bit of preseason scrims going on, and I know they
Okay.
both had a ton. Like they were filling up their scrim blocks and their schedules, getting ready for the NECC.
Which is always good to hear. If your team doesn't scrim a lot, it's hard to have a lot of success. And even if your scrims aren't successful, it just getting reps in, getting used to being in the game, it makes it so that when you actually come to play, on the live stage here, there's far less nerves. You just kind of go out there, you have a game plan. You're not like, should we play this? Should we play that? They beat us with Brawl, maybe we should just match. You answer a lot of your own questions and scrims, and then you got to answer the question of the other team.
Well, it looks like the attackers, they're going to run that May. Speed boosted in by Imp on the Lucio. Prince Wada on this Reinhardt. They're just not afraid to run Brawl at you. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I want to play. Every time. Just run Brawl, Clash, see what happens. Everyone loves it. Very hands-on version of Overwatch.
Starting things off here, getting in. Just trying to begin the poke phase here is St. Clair. Maybe May walling off the high ground to create some space, and they push right into the opposing Reinhardt. Zach goes down in a flash to those hammer swings. Spunk falls shortly after to a headshot from Kale, and St. Clair, I mean, they hardly even have their feet on the point. They're just taking the fight, pushing up the stairs with force, getting everyone off of this high ground. Stretched is no more, taken down by Apostle, and that is it. That is first point taken. They just steamrolled on there with that Brawl.
Yeah, St. Clair just doing the thing that Brawl does, and that is taking it to him. Right now, what ETSU was trying to set up was a little bit of high ground control, force that Brawl to take a long time, but they took no time at all to kind of put that comp away. The enemy ride of Sketch on ETSU just kind of got bulldozed.
Yeah, and right now you can see St. Clair not even playing with the payload. They've just got, I believe, Imp back there driving it all by himself, and then the remaining 5 members of this St. Clair team contesting this high ground, not letting ETSU get any valuable position. May walling off Stretch and slicing him down. Coalescence pop to give the attacking team even more momentum. Zach falling to Apostle, the captain rolling in at high charge, not afraid of anything. Snoozy going down to the hammer swing from Prince Wada. And that is the first fight on 2.1, and nearly they're all the way pushed up in spawn.
Yeah, they're ready to catch him right now. Fun little play that happened on the last one. Spunk stunned Prince Wada out of Shatter, which is always a high octane play. Sadly, didn't prove to win the fight, but it gets a little bit of ult economy out, and hopefully they'll be able to push into this next fight.
Second point almost capped nearly. Imp has been using the sit down emote on the payload the whole time, and he'll just drive this one in and park it nicely with a second point finish. Nearly a 6-minute time bank as the Graviton Surge is let loose by Apostle, sending everyone from St. Clair, who's got a chance of fighting, back to spawn. Trying to make it out with the high charge Zarya, but random person does eventually fall to Kale.
Kale does take down random person, and I haven't seen many signs of life here from ETSU, but they've switched up comps. When you switch comps, it kind of makes it so you have to lose a fight on your own. But now you're going to be able to push out here with a different look. You got a little bit more ults charged, and hopefully this ball dive variant can tear apart the brawl comp that St. Clair has set up.
Wrecking Ball slamming in is stretched. Under a lot of pressure, the Maywall throwing out. Denies the movement he was hoping to get. Earthshatter comes in and lands easily with no shield in the way. 4 cleanup kills in the works for St. Clair. Make it 5. Kale is hitting heads. I mean, every time I see him in the kill feed, it looks like the arrow next to his name is red.
Yeah, that does mean headshots, and those are far harder to do. But when your McCree is hitting headshots, he is doing so much more than his counterpart on DPS, and that is it's a talent in itself.
Bonk opting out of the McCree now. Burnout going down in the center of the point to a headshot from a May Icicle. That'll do 1 hit worth of damage. Apostle finding the kill on a Spunk. That's so far been the carry if Eastern Tennessee has had one. But right now, with 4 minutes to go, St. Clair is taking no prisoners on Blizzard World.
This brawl comp is so tight for St. Clair. It's hard to disrupt it. They do find Kale, which can be good. The defensive spawns of ETSU are very close. Popping the Coalescence to try to help clean this up quickly. Just lasering it around. The lightsaber takes out Spawn. Grab finds just the Reinhardt, trying to kill anything in it. Beat Drop comes out to counter, and Apostle's cleaning up everybody with that high charge beam. Kale coming back with the high noon, trying to get anybody left off the point. And wow. He does.
3 minutes, 53 seconds. That is a speed run. They sprinted through Blizzard World. It is going to be tough for ETSU to put up a time that matches that.
Yeah, they put their running shoes on and absolutely got to work right there. If I had to say anything, I think ETSU, if they stick with this brawl variant, even though they weren't able to put a stop to them there, I think it's because they switched to it a little too late. But they were finding some picks on just coming out of spawn in small little groups. If you can kind of build on that, I think ETSU could kind of find a little bit of footing here in this game, just to get it maybe a few points here. Because if ETSU can just, they don't have to speed run it. You don't have to speed run an Overwatch. You just need to get all 3 points, and especially on a map like this, if you get all 3, you will get. I'm sorry, you will not get another chance. But if you can get it with over a minute,
need it with time.
Get another chance. Yeah, you need it with a little bit of time, just a second. If you get it with a second, you have a chance to win.
Still puts you in a tough spot, though. I like the comp they're going for. They're not even choosing to match St. Clair on this brawl. They're going back to their own style of play. I think that's much more effective.
I agree.
Sketched onto the Wrecking Ball, random person on the Diva, and then they've got Far for some long-range poke. That's going to be Spunk. And then Burmow, he's going to stick to the Tracer, which has done well for him so far, and he's able to combo a lot better with this dive setup that they're about to run.
Yeah, I love the Far pick. I'm a huge fan. You pair it with the Mercy. Mercy's mostly going to be sticking with him, and Ball is going to set up the engages so that Far can hit those slams when he pops them off.
Interested to see in how St. Clair chooses to defend. Hit the gas. They choose to do it once more. Maywall to just lock the back door behind them, leaving no escape for the members of ETSU caught up on this high ground.
What I love about St. Clair is nobody's left behind. Nobody's having any questions, but they do all fall there. This is exactly what ETSU is looking for when they run this split comp. It's okay if they lose 1 or 2. They aren't as grouped up and together like St. Clair. They can pick them apart. If they don't answer the Pharah, eventually ETSU is going to win these fights, and that's a really good time for point 1 if they're able to cap. They do. They are going to have 5 minutes to get second point. So this is a roaring start and a good comeback round for ETSU.
I love the attack so far by ETSU. Like you were saying, playing this split comp nearly perfect. All you have to do is just, if St. Clair is going to do nothing but rush into you, have them rush into a spot that's fairly vulnerable, and then just attack them from these split angles like this. We saw Spawn just drop the barrage onto Kale. It's a long walk back from Spawn. ETSU is going to be able to collect their members rather quickly and get back out here and probably win the long fight.
Yeah, they're still getting a little bit of cart progress. St. Clair kind of looking like they're on the off end of this fight right now, and ETSU has really got a lot of momentum going here. They lost a few members, but they've got it back from the close respawns. But St. Clair doing a good job of dying on the objective, which is always good on these maps because you force it to not move and your team gets to spawn back together and you can come out as a full 6-man group.
Another good job by ETSU just holding on to their ultimate. Pulse Bomb thrown out there by the Tracer, but doesn't quite collect on any kills. Seems like it went a little errant. Coalescence coming in now to just engage St. Clair back onto ETSU. They're going to take this high ground with ease. Amanda popping that Coalescence to make it all happen. Doing a lot of damage along the way as well. And this is where you want to be set up on defense. You want the high grounds. It just makes for easier engagements. You can jump onto vulnerable targets a lot faster, but it's awfully tough like that. When Burnout closes in and gets that kill onto one of your DPS, Diva Bomb had to be thrown out there by a random person, but it doesn't collect any kills. Second point nearing its finish line. A contest has to come quickly here from St. Clair.
Yeah, that looks like St. Clair is starting to get a foothold, but there it is. The barrage comes out, gets killed by Kale. He's going to find the main support of St. Clair right now. Kale trying to set it the tone with High Noon's going to find the small Diva, and Snoozy's also going to fall. And finally, St. Clair is going to put a stop to ETSU. I haven't said that all night, and it made me, brings a smile to my face to see that ETSU is making this dive work. It is one of my favorite styles of Overwatch, but I also love how St. Clair is really sticking to this brawl. They have ultimates. They know if they can sit on these ultimates and use them efficiently, that they can whittle down the time of ETSU.
And Shatter is free too. There is going to be nothing in the way to stop it, but this split comp just taking these angles and managing to pick off St. Clair one by one. Shatter tries to bail them out of this corridor they're stuck in, but it's going to not be the case. ETSU coming out on top, locking in this second point. They've got a 4.5-minute time bank. I think this is just offensive powerhouse against an offensive powerhouse.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a speed run, and maybe this is why I like this map, because both teams kind of get a good opportunity to have a nice little run. Everyone likes to attack. Nobody likes to defend. And right now, on this map, that has never been more true. Everybody likes to attack. But when you come into the last point of Overwatch maps like this, like these payload points, these hybrid payloads, it gets very hard to get this last point. It is very defender friendly, and it is respawn friendly. So we will have to see how St. Clair defends this.
I'm seeing Spunk right now having this barrage online, looking to make a play with it, but he goes down in that Graviton Surge, as does Zach to kill. That ultimate alone could have been enough to win this fight, but the visor is popped on the outside. And just like that, a nice little defense put together by St. Clair stops this halfway through the third point.
The random person gonna go for the reset at the end of the fight. He does a good job, though. He tries to control the tactical visor from from Yua, who's now switched over to the Bale. My apologies. Baleable was on the soldier. He gets answered by a random person. Very nice on that last fight.
Earth Shatter laid down, nothing in the way to stop it, as is their tradition so far. Prince Wada, I mean, just shielding his team forward, not choosing to be the playmaker with the hammer swings, just getting his team that brawl comp in the mix, using the resources in his kit perfectly. Shield doesn't even break, Neely.
That shield does not break. And one thing, sometimes you got to put away the toys when you go inside, and that's kind of what it is when you have a Pharah on your team and you get to these inside points. When you have that second point that's so open, so many angles for this Tracer ball to work, you kind of get shut down when you only have one way of entry. Good barrage here. They put the nano onto it and they throw the Diva Matrix in the way to support it. Finds both supports, and this should only be ETSU taking this fight win because they have no healing to keep them alive inside of St. Clair.
And the res does come through onto a random person, so he'll hop back in that mech, and they'll be able to continue going at this 6 versus 6. They've still got the Valk and the Wrecking Ball mines to play with this next fight. Is that enough to close it out, or do you think St. Clair comes out with some fire in their belly and puts another stop to it?
They're going to have the beat drop to counter the ball and a High Noon to hopefully shut out this far a little bit. High Noon early with the speed boost. He's a charging cowboy. He ran at him with that all sketched. Gonna fall to it. Not much you can do there when McCree is moving that quickly. Kale, always the star on this team so far.
Yeah, he's bailed them out so much. I mean, the rush is almost based around his stun. If he's able to hit that stun onto anything, his team is never far away to help him clean up on that damage, and he's got so much support. Right now, he's just positioned in his own backline, and if the McCree is your backline and he's only 10 feet from your main tank, it's going to be tough to get to him. Wrecking Ball slams in on a group of anti-targets on St. Clair, but none of them fall. Sponk tries to get in on this far end, just take something down, but it's going to be getting locked up by that grab from Apostle and erased rather quickly. Commando popping that Coalescence again, and St. Clair just bursts forward and spends more time near the ETSU spawn door.
That's the key to this brawl comp when you have ultimates too, as you saw Apostle chose to only get sketched with that grab. Apostle also finding both DPS in that fight right there, and we're going to force out ball ult at the spawn. Not really going to find a lot of value for sketch. Apostle absolutely popping off right now.
40 seconds left in Blizzard World. ETSU, they've got to make something happen quick. If they drop this map, that is the game in this best of 3. 2 maps going the way of St. Clair would just about do everything to wrap this one up here. I mean, that is a clean sweep. And one in quick fashion, too. What was originally a long time bank has whittled down to the final 20 seconds. Nano slapped onto the barrage again. Very effective, finding a triple kill. The Zarya and both supports taken down for St. Clair. They're on their last legs of this defense, but if they get it to overtime, this one is not losable.
It's not entirely losable. They have a chance to maybe force a tie here if they're able to put it into the end, but they're only going to have High Noon and Valkyrie, potentially a Diva Bomb to answer.
The defense comes barreling out. High Noons counter each other, but one of the shatters lands, and Kale is able to clean up there with that High Noon kill onto the counterpart on McCree. Random person demeched by the hammer swing from Prince Wada. Bonk is just raining rockets in overhead. Sketched able to find 2 kills on the outside, getting into the back line of St. Clair. The defense starting to be picked apart, but Apostle steps forward with a ton of charge. Lines up that grab onto 4 members of ETSU. Can Prince Wada just bat them down? Able to shield off that Diva Bomb. A little bit space created. The payload inches even closer to the finish line. Overtime already ticking away. This is ETSU's last chance to stay alive in this game.
We'll do it right there. St. Clair is going to take Blizzard World into 2-0 sweep.
A very clean game by St. Clair. Sponk with the play of the game. I think we all know what it is. The 3-man nano barrage on this third point. Yeah.
They knew how to set these up really well. So I'd like to see what this team could do in the future of this tournament, because how they set those up is superb. They put the nano, the mercy, and they throw a Diva Matrix on him to force that comp to crumble to his ultimate.
Yeah, they definitely executed those combos very well, despite dropping this one 2-0. I think they just have to work on their mid fight. I think the brawl we saw from St. Clair, without any ultimates required, just was able to get on and create so much pressure. And for a little bit, we saw ETSU answer it with that split comp, picking members of St. Clair off around the fight. But St. Clair just very consistent in that brawl comp today.
Well, once again, I'd like to say thanks to some of our sponsors. Helix Esports offers world-class gaming and virtual reality experiences at state-of-the-art esports centers throughout the United States. Helix Esports delivers a professional esports experience to everyone, whether the gamers choose to play, practice, and socialize with their friends or compete at the highest level. Helix Esports is the premier destination for gamers. Follow Helix Esports at Helix Esports USA.
And ESTV. EST is the first ever dedicated channel to esports and gaming personalities. You can find it on the Roku channel, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung TV Plus, Sling. It's on pretty much everything. You can find out more about ESTV at www.estv.co. That's www.estv.co. Neely, thanks again for co-casting the season opener with me. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. One more? We're doing the third? We don't... Oh, I love it. I'm surprised. Let's go. Producer says we're doing the third map. News to me. I thought this one was over, but I'm excited to see more Overwatch. I think ETSU can actually run that split comp and get it together. I was a little upset we weren't going to see Dorado, because it's going to work on that map if it's going to work on any of these.
I completely agree with you. ETSU has the comp for this map, and if you do try to force brawl, it's going to be an absolute nightmare until you get to that third point of Dorado. So I'm interested to see how this one pans out.
I mean, I don't think we're going to be surprised at all by St. Clair. I think they're going to go brawl. I think it's going to be a similar 6 heroes that we've seen all match long from them. And honestly, just play what you practice. It seems like they practice the hell out of that comp, and I love it. You love when your team comes into the first week of play with a strong identity. You rarely see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can tell they've scrimped. I mean, you can tell both of these teams have scrimped. That's the beauty of it, is nobody's coming in here unprepared. Nobody's asking questions. ETSU didn't go, well, they're running Brawl. Let's try to run it better. They go, no, we're gonna run what we know how to run, and they got it to almost work. They got it to work right up until it was probably the hardest point to work on, which is third point, because you kind of have to go inside. It's hard to fly a plane inside, and that's what FAR is. FAR is the plane of Overwatch, and it's a bit
It's hard to
difficult when
fly
you're
a plane
restricted.
inside.
Yeah.
Cut out?
No,
You're
I'm
still
still
here?
here.
Did I cut out? We're good?
We're good.
Oh,
Apologies.
man. Must have been a wind gust outside my house.
Must have.
Well, that's good.
But regardless, map 3 is gonna be Dorado. Where's Dorado located? Do you know?
Mexico.
Mexico. That's what I was gonna say, but then I was like, I could be drastically wrong, and I don't want to be drastically wrong. It's kind of what I would have assumed. I know there's some pinatas hanging around, some stuff like that. Seems to have that cactus vibe going on. But
Yeah, this is where it all went down, but between McCree, Soldier, and Sombra way back in the lore. I
way
remember
back,
watching that short when the game first came out.
I know, back when the game came out, I used to watch all those. I thought it was super cool, and then Overwatch stopped making them.
I know.
In like a
I was
Horizon like 2 years ago.
Soldier had such a sweet jacket, a sweet leather jacket in that lure, and I was just like, oh man, if anyone ever does a cosplay, they should do Soldier from that specific little
Mhm.
piece of the Overwatch lore. But we're finally getting in, and as predicted, I'm going to predict it again. St. Clair going to do nothing new on this map.
Yeah, I honestly think both teams are going to continue what they've done on these maps. I don't see why either of them would swap. If you're a dive variant team, well, why not dive on this map? And if you're a brawl team and you've gotten brawl to work on every other point of every other map, why would you not just brawl? So it's going to be, I love it when two play styles are kind of just playing against each other. But as we say it, we're seeing some different variants. Prince Wada is going to be coming out onto the Winston. This is the double bubble comp I mentioned in the pregame that I thought we were going to see more of. And on the side of, is St. Clair on the left side? No.
St. Clair has found themselves on the right side.
On the right
again.
side. Okay. Sometimes they switch sides, sometimes they don't. So I just had to clarify that for myself. But the dive from the Brawl team is going to be coming out, which is actually rather exciting. It's good to see them maybe get out of their comfort zone, but that's exactly what ETSU is looking for, is for St. Clair to get out of their comfort zone. This is definitely not their comfort zone, and maybe this is ETSU's with this really high spam, high ground hold, you can't dive me type setup.
It's also very hard with the high grounds around this first point. Just to get a brawl comp up there to engage from a good spot to begin with, Prince Wada right now is looking for a window to jump on up and get in the mix. Right now, they're just moving the cart for free. There goes Prince Wada right up into the mix, gets that Zarya bubble. 40 charge for Apostle, easily gained. And now it's looking like this spam comp has to split up a little bit for ETSU. At some point, they've got to rotate and contest this point. They managed to pick Available. I mean, the hit scan, winning the duel with the Mercy boosted headshot, but random person falls to Kale in the cart. Still being moved under this catwalk, Neely. It's looking dicey, but the resurrect comes through.
This is going to be really hard for this double bubble comp to get any footing, because they don't have anything to go with this Winston. This Winston really is just trying to make space based on disrupting them on the high grounds, as he's doing right now, and then hoping that your DPS can continue to pop off like they have had all game. Available is going to have the Mercy connected to him, and now he's got this bridge hold, which is right where he wants to be, as Winston kind of carts him up into that position.
Prince Wada in a tricky spot along that left side. Apostle pushing the cart along by himself. Prince Wada eventually does close it on the Sketch, who does not have his healing available and goes down. Spunk also falling to the hit scan available. And it looks like right now, they're just pushing in. First point, again, with a speed run time, almost 5 minutes in the bank.
This is sometimes first point, though. First point is generally a bit attacker's favor. And Prince Wada actually played that exceptionally well, considering the opposition he had in front of him. He has a lot of threats to deal with him. And I believe Spunk was on the Kree and now has swapped over to Hanzo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Hanzo provides something even more difficult for Prince Wada to try to dive into because of that Storm Arrow. Coach Gun's going to keep him off the high ground as well.
Right now, everyone on St. Clair rotating around to the backside of the staircase. Burnout doesn't know anybody's there. Turns out there's 4 members. One, a high charge Zarya Apostle taking him down, but Spong does a good job landing that redemption headshot, and Commander will have to use that resurrect early on in this fight.
Absolutely, and this high ground control taken by everybody but the Winston, which is kind of odd to see. I think Winston's waiting to see if anybody can test this cart. He does not want the Roadhog to step onto him. Lift comes out to try to get everybody away, finds Kale, and now ETSU is trying to find some footing. Random person gets grabbed by All Alone, and a bomb is thrown at him. They do not like this Sigma. He gets taken out by the bomb.
That Bob is in such a good spot, just hanging 10 on this high ground too. Sketch does get that kill onto Prince Wada. Not sure if they'll have the resurrect for it. Maybe they will, and it looks like they actually do. That's fantastic. They get to go at this fight again, 6 versus 6. Apostle along the right side, all alone, taking tons of space with high charge. That's exactly what you like to see the Zarya in this composition do.
That's the thing, is because Zarya doesn't have any abilities to get to high ground unless she walks there. High Noon coming out, trying to support it with bubbles put in front of him, zones everybody out. Bomb coming out on the point late with the Valkyrie to try to keep everybody sustained. Sketch finding himself now onto the Wrecking Ball, got tired of that Sigma, and Sponk is going to go down, but also Imp is going to go down. Trades going both ways, but St. Clair's has the advantage at the moment, finds the res onto Imp, and St. Clair just needs to try to put this one away.
Kale right now just playing in his own backline, making sure he's keeping everyone, including his Ana and Mercy, safe. Stuns Wrecking Ball on his way in. Sketched barely making it out with any HP. Still awfully low, has to get support quickly as Kale starts to roll back into this fight. His tanks have gone down. Couple of kills in timely fashion for Eastern Tennessee. Burnout just flanking in on this soldier, not letting Kale get any breathing room as he's on his way out.
Very well done right there from ETSU. They switched to the Wrecking Ball. Just as we said, that is their comp style. They like the ball, and it actually gives them enough time to get all the respawns. They lost 3 members right there, and were able to swing it back slowly and surely and win that fight. Bob's going to take the high ground again. This is Bob's high ground. If anybody was curious, Apostle grabs 2. Trying to clean them up, and he will. The Bob also there to focus it. Now we just got to get the ball off this point. Ball's going to pop his mines on the... He can't touch his point, but they're not really going to need to if everybody's dead. Meow,
the last one on there, and the last one to contest before this point goes the way of St. Clair. 3:10 on the clock. A better job on defense that time, but like you were saying, that first point, definitely attacker-friendly for St. Clair.
Absolutely, and now if you're the defenders, there's still a little bit of high ground on here. They're not running the Pharah variant, so they can stick with their ball comp a lot more successfully, and it is defender favored. And when you run the Wrecking Ball, he gets back from spawn so quickly. Grav coming out right there just to, you know, drop the Ash down. Prince Wanda's going to find Zach, but that's going to be about it on the side of St. Clair. As I say it, Burnout is going to go down.
Things are looking shaky here as Prince Wada is able to get a lot of value in the backline, popping the Primal Rage as well to just add to the disruption. St. Clair not out of this fight yet. They've still got the McCree, Ana, and the Monkey in the mix. And now Apostle's back in the action, already at a high charge, but both tanks are low. They've got to just back off for a few seconds, get those resources back, and then re-engage. But Sketch tries to claim the tempo, and he's able to just slam down onto Kale and Apostle. Those 2 kills going quick fashion to Random Person and Sketch.
That was a great dragon from Sponk right there. He splits up the tanks and the supports. Nothing they can do. They slam the 2 split with Sketch's Wrecking Ball, and they're just going to take them out of the fight with much ease. Now, Kale, the man with the high noon, found a ton of value with it all day. He's not going to have the Reinhardt to set him up, and Baleful has swapped over to the Maeve with the dive comp. An interesting look, but also one of his better heroes. Sketched falls off the map. Unlucky, gets a little spooked, I might say, and gets away from the team of St. Clair. High Noon coming out. He's walking forward slowly and menacingly, trying to get anybody in his sights. And they can't find everybody. Baleful falls, but Random Person also goes down. He gets zoned out onto that point, and Baleful back up. Spunk also gets found by Apostle.
Kale getting the headshot kill onto Burnout, taking him down. The Wrecking Ball mines making one of those corners on the point. Very, very dangerous, but St. Clair, good job navigating around those, keeping everybody alive through that. Bailable getting the kill onto Zach, and Sketched going down as well to Kale, who's been lights out this whole round. Also playing with a very valued life. Not an easy target to kill. The May ultimate going to clear off of this spawn door. Tough time getting out. Zach pops the beat to keep Burnout alive for a little bit longer, but the May wall closes the door. Can anyone else get back in the mix? Snoozy is just poking around, trying to get this resurrect onto random person. Able to do it, but not able to get out of the grab, which locks up the 3 remaining members of this ETSU team.
Yeah, well done right there from St. Clair. But a good Dragon coming out here, trying to find anybody. A few supports getting caught in the mix. Amp goes down. This is what you need when you're on the defense with the defender spawns. Any pick is huge because the spawn you have is much closer. They're actually going to get the res onto him. And now St. Clair just needs to finish this. They need to get this Wrecking Ball off the point. High Noon coming out from Kale. Can he find anything? Finds 2. Finds a tank and Tracer. And that should spell a capture for St. Clair right here.
Overtime underway, and overtime is where they'll finish the map. But this is payload, unlike hybrid. If you get to overtime and the other team has 5 minutes on the clock, you've still bought yourself a ticket to overtime. So it's going to be interesting. St. Clair proving that they know how to attack the map of Dorado very well, despite switching from Brawl over to Double Bubble. Now it's going to be up to ETSU to get a hefty time bank this first time around.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, as we said, lots of time and not a lot of time and a comp that favors ETSU. Not saying that St. Clair didn't run it well with the double bubble, but I think Wrecking Ball is a little bit better than Winston. If you have a strong, confident Wrecking Ball, you have a lot more options of what you can do. Winston's a little more linear in what he does. He jumps in, he kind of stays with the team. It's either one or the other. Ball can be at any part of the map at all times and has a higher burst damage. So I would like to see what ETSU can really do here with this attack, because when they had the advantage of points and like what points they were playing on Blizzard World, they dominated. But when they got to the 3rd point, they slowed down tremendously. So we'll see if another point with high grounds like this 3rd point that Dorado has, if ETSU is going to be able to march right to the victory square.
And I see again they're going with Spunk on the far, Snoozy on the Mercy to help him along the way. But Kale on this McCree, he's been the DPS player to watch for St. Clair so far. Maybe he can put a stop to Spunk. Spunk had massive barrages in use of that ultimate on Blizzard World, trying to do it again here on Dorado. First point underway. The Brawl comp is what St. Clair's back onto. Prince Wada just locking down this very first doorway, really not letting ETSU get any space on this map without a sacrifice.
Actually lights herself on fire right there. Gets a bit fire for Burmeow, and he's actually going to kind of take himself down by the help of Apostle. Emort coming out to try to help this Brawl comp of St. Clair maintain this point. They're just getting this close hold so that they aren't as able to access these high grounds, and they're playing inside to hide from the Pharah.
I like this so much. I mean, this is truly strategizing this Brawl comp perfectly. This is the one spot where they can be both indoors, contest the car, and play to the strengths of Brawl. After this, if ETSU can get it past this corner, there's no better place for St. Clair to defend this point than right here. But St. Clair is all in. The barrage from Spunk, taking down 5 on his own. What a play.
Now, that's exactly what you're building up to, though, if you're ETSU, and that's exactly why you hold so close if you're St. Clair. ETSU knows if they just stay there, Spunk's going to build up that barrage and get to lay it down into a team that cannot answer in a small room. But vice versa, they hold very close, and now they're going to have plenty of time for a second recontest, a recontest that ETSU was not allowed when they defended.
Bonk trying to hold as close as he can, just putting these rockets into the back line, but he's taken down by a phenomenal headshot by Kale. And now Sketched moving in on the back line, slamming down as the Diva Bomb is thrown in. Unfortunately finds nothing, but random person does go down to Failable on this May. Looks like the attackers have to reset here. It seems like they've gone a little too far in, and now they can recuperate and decide what ultimates they'll use next fight.
I love that spawn hold from St. Clair, because you're basically planning to hold that card as long as you can until you lose that fight. They were holding in that door in a perfect range just so that that cart couldn't move away from them. And ETSU was forced just to poke into that room and really just watch the cart not move, and it gives them a free re-engage where Kale does what he does and he finds the headshot onto Spawn. But now 6 ultimates here for St. Clair is going to be hard to push into. Random person gets taken down by Kale once again.
It will be, and even with this split comp that can take so many angles, there's a way St. Clair could make this very ETSU, as they have complete ultimate control. Sketched able to find a kill with that Wrecking Ball mine onto Commando to swing things back his team's way with Apostle and Commando down. The attackers finally have some wiggle room available going down to the rocket from Spock as well. Just makes that even more room to move, but again, nothing to stop the shatter. Prince Wada laying it down. Kale able to finish off Spock, but that's all they'll be able to get here.
Yeah, that is all they're going to be able to get, but Kale really, I mean, if we ever had to talk about player of the match a bit early, Kale's probably going to be the top of the list, because this McCree is unbelievable. Mayfree's coming out, going to lock this Diva above. Nanoed as well on the side of the attack, trying to find anything it can. Burnow going to find Moira. And
they're doing it!
Go down to Sponks. Sponks finding everything he needs, but 2. Kale finds 3, and it's just back and forth. Spawn gets res. This should be ETSU taking this point right now, but as they try to, Prince Wada's going to be spinning around with everything he's got, and now they will lose the point, but they did a great job. They whittled the time down, and they did what they had to do. But something that we need to look into going into the next fight is Sponk with the barrage. He's been nothing but lights out with these. Only been shut down about once tonight, so St. Clair is going to have to keep an eye out on this barrage.
They've got available over to the Ash now. 2 hit scans to counter Spunk, who they feel is just doing a little too much work. Now he's setting up super close for this barrage. Lets it drop onto 4 again. He's got 9 barrage kills so far on Dorado. That's incredible.
It is incredible, and Snooze is just gonna sneak in the back and pop that res back onto Spunk. That's the thing with that ultimate, is usually when you use it, you try to get as many as you can in one go, and the enemy team will usually, find you and you will fall. But it's mostly because you get locked up when you press that Q button, as you cannot any longer move. But now he's going to have to go against 2 hit scan, and he doesn't have his ultimate trap card, which is the barrage.
He's able to hold close, though. It's such a tough angle for the hit scan to look straight up and do any damage onto Spunk, especially when he has that pocket. Right now, he's taking the duel with the Ash available, trying to win this his best, but unfortunately goes down to Spunk. The attackers still have some momentum. That Graviton Surge looking to take it all away, but Spunk with 3 in the feed, never saying die on the attack, closes it on this Reinhardt, and already at 70% to his next ultimate. He is just farming these, Neely.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, once he got all that space for his team by hitting that barrage, he was able to hold close, and when you have a bar that's constantly jiggling in between cover and not right above your head, it's really hard to win that, even when you do have the favorite duel as the Ash with the pocket. But now they get to do hopefully what they wanted to do last time. This is inside, but if you look up, if you're able to look up, there's a lot of room up there for Afara to do what she wants to do, and a lot of interesting ground. She's in an interesting spot right now. Imp finds Scooby, though. That's a huge pick, because now Spock is going to be found all alone. The Diva's going to be able to just fly up there and take him out. Air dominance is being retaken by Apostle.
St. Clair regaining control of the skies, at least for now. Spunk has that barrage, so that Farah pick is not going anywhere. At this point, though, like you were saying, it is indoors, but I think this is the true tallest skybox in all of Overwatch, is this point directly above the 3rd point finish line. There's a little pillar that hangs down, and Farah can use her rockets to just make her way all the way up that pillar. And if she can get up there, I mean, that is one crazy strap, and I don't see anyone taking down Spunk. Gets the defensive matrix to stay alive through that barrage, but it's also going to be Apostle with the defensive matrix from St. Clair's Diva to eat that entire ultimate and make sure it finds no value. Nano goes on to Commando on the Mercy, Valking, making sure she doesn't die. Not positive that was the intended target, as St. Clair starts to lose a bit of their defensive momentum. Spock in the kill feed again, as he always is this map.
And here we go, ETSU, just as we predicted, marching through this map, trying to gain a better time. Now, They're going to get a chance to recontest here, but Prince Wada is not going to have a fun time on this Reinhardt trying to stand on this point against this comp. Ball all comes out. Diva Bomb flies out and finds nothing from Apostle. Prince Wanda has the Shatter, and he's going to be trying to find almost anything to lock this enemy team up. Bomb comes out along with the High Noon. High Noon finds two. Finds the Diva and the Pharah. Imp's going to go down to the Diva Bomb, but that's going to be a very nice hold from St. Clair. That's exactly what they needed in the final minute of this map.
30 seconds left. Is it going to be a shutout? Will we go to overtime? Will ETSU get some redemption today? I honestly think they've done it. This has been a fairly close game. The DPS on ETSU have really impressed me. Same with Random Person on this Diva, just setting up combos with that defensive matrix. Such a tanking ability that can be used in such supportive ways. Doing a great job of that so far. But 10 seconds left. Time to make a move, Neely.
Yeah, time to make a move, and here comes Sketch in to make his move. They nano the Pharah, losing a little bit of height there, but finds two with the barrage. That could be exactly what they need. Shatter locks up both the tanks to try to help the team finish them off. If the tanks go down, it's going to be hard to keep pressure on this point. Random Person falls, but Imp also falls to Spunk. Diva Bomb trying to find anything it can, gives the team, finds Spunk. That's the main damage dealer. They're going to res it up immediately. Res also comes out onto Prince Wanda. That's a huge part of their contest. Ball ult going to come out onto that point, and ETSU is just trying to do anything they can to get St. Clair off this point.
St. Clair's back out there. I don't think they're going anywhere. It's going to be so tough. ETSU starting to come up with some DPS ultimate. Spunk, that's huge, taking down Commander, but Zach goes down to Imp, losing that support duel. Spunk almost has that Barrage built back up. He's at 95%. Burmow's at 95 as well. Barrage taken down by a Fire Strike and available on the Tracer. Great damage comboed by the tank and the DPS from St. Clair. High Noon from Spawn. Can it find anything? Unfortunately not. The defender's still in a tough spot. Resurrect coming through to get Prince Wada back in the mix, but currently ETSU, they've got firm control of this point, especially with their Diva hopping back in that mech. Prince Wada, he's only got a kitchen tile to stand on right now, and he goes down to Zach.
This is so close right now. It's really hard to say which way it'll go. St. Clair has the closer spawns. They now are starting to finally have to kill. Spunk is looking at a whole mess of people and isn't sure who he can take out. They're all so fast, and those rockets are oh so very slow. No picks on the side of either team for a little while. Just everybody trying to stay on this objective. Spunk finds Imp. That's exactly what ETSU needed. Shatter coming out finds Zach and Sketched. That's their main point presence. Ball coming out from Apostle to say, get off my objective. Zach's gonna go down. Mikhail goes down in Noon. And finally, St. Clair locks up the third map. A little bit of a C9 there, but either way, St. Clair fought so long and so hard on that point. It's almost hard to say they didn't deserve it, but Spunk with a massive barrage. Will it be the 5 or the 4, yo?
Oh, it has to be the 5 coming in the back door of this little building on first point. Not missing the target. Commander, you thought she was going to get away hiding in that corner, but Spunk, no trouble finding her there.
I love Pharah comps, man.
Oh, they're the best. They're the best. The blow it up offense. My absolute favorite DPS hero in the game. But that actually is going to do it. I thought we were going to be done after 2. We're done after 3. The 3-0 win from St. Clair over Eastern Tennessee State University. Honestly, what a game to cast. I'm glad Dorado was that closely contested. ETSU, that was a map that was much more designed to their strengths, and I'm glad we got to see some of them today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you don't like to see 3-0s when they're completely one-sided. Obviously, anytime there's a 3-0, it is one-sided, but where the main difference was for St. Clair is when it came down to third point defense, they just had stronger holds. They had a better recontest. That was probably the best part of their game, and they executed on that tonight here. ETSU, though, I would be terrified to play against them as any other team in this league, because anybody who can run the wrecking ball confidently with a Zarya, with a Pharah, is just going to be put up against a whole ton of issues.
That is such a lethal burst combo between those 3 heroes, and they ran it to near perfection. But of course, if we're going to give a player of the match, if it's not going to be Spunk, I got to give it to Kale, because his whole job today was shutting down Spunk, and that was the standout player to me. If we could get a Discord interview, probably Kale. I'd probably want to talk to Kale, see what kind of pressure he was under.
But yeah, I'd have to agree. Kale was rather strong in this game. I'm sure if we got to talk to him, he might say how his team supports him so well. But he always found picks when he had to. Every time he needed to find that pharmacy, he kind of did. And he not every time, because Sponk obviously had a lot of room, but Kale found it when he needed to, and definitely made a massive impact in every moment he could.
Liked Prince Wada too, just going against the grain, picking
Yeah.
Reinhardt so much, especially when he realized that ETSU, the main composition they had going, did not involve a tank with a shield. And when he was just continuing to play Reinhardt and build up those Earth Shatters, I was just so excited to see him put a stop to fight after fight with that ultimate.
Hmm. I thought his Winston was very good for a team that doesn't want to switch off Ryan. Usually, it's because your main tank is limited, and you kind of need to force a comp, which doesn't mean you're any worse. It just means you kind of need to force something, and your team can build around that. But that's
Mhm.
absolutely not the reason that St. Clair is just super down to run this tight brawl, and they run it very, very well. It's really hard to get any angles on this comp. Prince Wada, though, played a very exceptional Winston. I thought it was very well played all throughout the round. I'm really glad I got to see it.
If
Who's the
not
captain?
Kale, either Sponk or Apostle.
Yeah.
Those are my
Do they
two
have to
next
be from the
picks.
winning team?
No, not
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay.
Bonk was popping off though. I
Yeah,
want
it's
to know
probably
what his
very
team's
good.
comms are like when he got 5 in the feed, and then like 1 minute later he got 4 with another barrage.
Pretty far down the map too. I mean, it's you did that close hold. I mean, I was like, man, are they ever gonna like dislodge them from this area? And that's the thing with the brawl is you will get dislodged if you sit anywhere for an extended period of time, or if the fight goes for an extended period of time.
They held that down so well though. I wasn't expecting that comp to defend that first point, that attacker friendly first point very well at all, but they knew exactly what they had to do just camping out in that room. I've never seen a team effectively do that for more than a minute. They had a great little first hold there.
Yeah, and it just forces you to get another whole fight. The card has so long to go after that. So awesome. So it seems like we're gonna get to talk to Apostle here, the captain of St. Clair. Hopefully, we'll get to figure out why they like this brawl comp so much and how they're so confident in it, and maybe how they got to where they are today.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we talked a little bit before the game. One team, St. Clair, they had that tank captain, and then ETSU, they were rocking with the support. So I'm interested to see Apostle's take on the difference between a captain who's a tank and support, just in the tempo of the game and what you choose to take in terms of fights. But Apostle, are you with us now?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Awesome, man. How's it going with you? You had a very nice game, the clean sweep to start things off here in the NECC. Congratulations.
For sure, we're very happy to start the season off strong.
Just a couple of quick questions for you. I'll start out and then Neely will ask you one. But we were talking about being a captain as a tank player. Do you choose to be an offensive team? I mean, clearly with that brawl and the speed boost, you look like one. But what kind of direction do you want to take this St. Clair team?
Generally, we want to be a very decisive team. We don't want to necessarily be aggressive 100% of the time, but we want to make sure that we're always in control of what we're doing. So whether that's having a plan to say, okay, we're going to hold here, let them come to us, and then engage, or whether that's we're going to engage before they even get the chance to think about what they're going to do. We want to make sure that we're always in control of the game and setting the tempo.
It was definitely noticeable. Neely, what do you have to ask him?
Well, you guys obviously ran that brawl comp, and I just want to know, especially in a meta like this where ball and double bubble can be so strong, how are you guys so able to stay on that brawl comp into these, more split comps?
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason we run the brawl comp is because individually, all of us as players, we are very good at the characters that make up the brawl comp. Prince Wada, he's an insane Ryan. Commanda, she's a great Moira. And so when we're all on these sort of comfort picks for us, it just meshes together really well. And there's just that natural understanding of the comp that doesn't come as easily on some of these more split comps, such as the ball comp, such as the double bubble comps. So when we're playing those brawl comps, we fit and we become a well-oiled machine, and we can just make it work without much issue.
And to what you were saying about split comps, they can be so effective and so hard to close in when you're playing Brawl.
For
How did you
sure, yeah.
change what targets you were picking to start fights? Because it seemed like there's always a duo on ETSU that you could run at, but the question was like, does it make you too vulnerable to go there? How do you choose to just like pick the pace and the time where you attack that?
A lot of it is just like it's very dependent on like what their positioning is, right? Like if they have that Farrah Mercy, who's like, if we see them trying to flank, then we know, okay, they're trying to flank. We have maybe like 5 or so seconds that we can find a target rush in, and we don't really have to worry about that pharmacy combo as much. So we're just looking for like the most vulnerable targets, the easiest targets that we can get on. We ran the Lucio a lot, which ETSU didn't really, which means that we always had the speed advantage, right? So long as we pick a good target who is in an accessible position, and this goes back to like setting the tempo, right? So long as we make the first move, they're not going to be ready for that aggressiveness, and then they will usually die just to like our sheer coordination, our sheer aggressiveness to go in, isolate that target, take them out. Even if they're like trying to get around, get the angles on us, so long as we make the first move, usually it'll work out.
Yeah, it was interesting to see on defense, you would still be the team that was the one that who you pushed forward. You took the tempo, you used the speed, you knew you had it, and you really just don't see that on defense too much. Usually you sit back, play the point a little bit longer, but like on Blizzard World, I mean, you just rushed in that left side staircase when you saw the Pharah go up, and you're just like, we're taking the fight right here. I don't even care. That was an amazing little defensive push. Neely,
Yeah.
did you have anything else you wanted to ask Apostle?
Well, my last question is, it's a fun little question, and you can answer it however you want, but who would your all-star of this game be? Who was your MVP, maybe from your team or the other team? It's really up to you. You could pick your whole team.
Well, I will have to say, the Sponk playing the Pharah, I believe, he was definitely a force to be reckoned with. He forced us to like change our play style a lot. He forced us to make a lot of decisions that were often difficult to make. We have to decide what's right and what's wrong to do in these situations, and he really forced us to think about the game a lot more than we had been in like the previous game before they started running the Pharah. And so I'd say he was like probably the best player on the enemy team because he was just such an insane presence there on the field. On my team personally, I might be a bit biased as a fellow tank player, but I'd have to give it to Prince Wada. He was doing a really good job of calling these engages, calling for the speeds, making sure we're all on the same page, staying grouped up, and so that's who I'd give it to for my team.
Is he the guy who leads like the comms? Is he super loud during the games?
Typically, yeah. Prince Wada,
Nice.
he's one of those larger than life personalities. I love that guy.
You need that in the main tank, especially a Rhine player. That is tailor-made Rhine personality.
He very much embodies that Reinhardt personality. Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Congratulations again on your first win in your NECC debut. I mean, congratulations. That's a big step in the right direction for the program. Thanks for the little interview at the end. And
no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, go celebrate with St. Clair.
Will do.
Alrighty, so that is going to wrap it up here. St. Clair winning this match 3-0. I've been Yelkrub. Co-casting with me is my good friend Neely. Thanks for tuning into the NECC, but don't go anywhere. There's more collegiate Overwatch coming right up.